In the last chapter of Two Blue Vortex, we were shown that Kurama is actually still alive within Himawari. This shook the world of Naruto Weebs everywhere, including mine. It was nice to see our favorite foxy boy come back, even if it was in small bean mode, but the biggest question left behind was, how is this possible? Well, I'm hoping that this new chapter can explain it for us, considering that it's called Kernel. I assume that means Kurama. But then again, I don't know. Just as every other time I read one of these chapters, I'm going in blind so I can experience this in real time with you. After we read it over, we'll discuss the implications. So finally, let's get into this. But first, welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you're subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. The story starts with our heroes on the back of Inogen's super beast scroll bird, still fleeing from the divine trees below. Jura states that they should know that they can't outrun them, and then surmises that they're attempting to limit the damage done to their village. It's just then that various shinobi from the village start rushing in to stop the god trees. Konohamaru reports in that they've spotted the trespassers, but they have no clue where Team 10 could be. Shikamaru states that Team 10, as well as Himawari, are all safe for now, and are attempting to lead the adversaries away. He states that they don't know why, but the enemies are targeting Himawari at current. This catches both the attention of Boruto and Kawaki. Shikamaru then tells Kawaki that he should abandon his hunt for Boruto for a while, as Boruto seems to consider these trees to be enemies as well, and that it would be advantageous for them to use Boruto. Kawaki states that Shikamaru should have led with the fact that Himawari was in danger, showing a bit of a protective side for Himawari. He then rushes after them, with Delta not far behind. With the line cut, Shikamaru is then free to talk to Boruto. He asks if he's okay after what seemed to happen with his Karma Seal. Boruto states that he's okay, but he just needs to catch his breath. All the while, the frog in his collar watches Hidari carefully. Hidari asks Jura why it is that the Konoha Shinobi keep interfering with them, and Jura tells him to ask the Konoha Shinobi that question. Jura then flees off to find Himawari. Konohamaru reports that one of the trees is escaping and that he's heading to the southwest in Himawari's direction as expected. They begin to move to intercept Jura but are stopped by Hidari. Konohamaru tells him to move because he's blocking their way. Hidari asks why they keep getting in the way, and the shinobi by Konohamaru says that he obviously doesn't know his place as an intruder. Konohamaru holds out his hand to calm his compatriot. He then contacts the sensory unit and asks if they're certain Sasuke is there. Konohamaru is looking at the only intruder remaining, and he's not Sasuke. The sensory unit reports back that the person in front of him is Sasuke. This only confuses Konohamaru more. All the while, Hidari grows impatient and demands that Konohamaru answer the question. It's then that Sarada and Sumire approach from the smoke. Konohamaru calls out Sarada's name in a warning fashion. Hidari then recognizes her as Sarada Uchiha. Oh yeah, he stated in the past chapters that he wanted to eat her. This is about to get interesting. Hidari then disappears into a claw mark and appears from another that was behind Sarada. He goes to grab her, but she activates her Sharingan and dodges. Here's to hoping that she uses her Mangekyo and we finally get a display of those abilities she has. I gotta know what she's got. Konohamaru rushes toward her as she utilizes Chidori against Hidari. Hidari stumbles forward, a little winded from the attack. Sumire calls out to her. Konohamaru asks if she's alright. Sarada is in another place though in her mind. She looks back and recognizes that Hidari just used a Chidori, just like she and Sasuke do. She wonders who he actually is. Elsewhere, Himawari is within her own subconscious. There she looks at the little-tailed beast. It introduces itself as Kurama, but says it also answers to Ninetales. Haha, we've now confirmed that this is our little beastie boy. She asks if this means that he's the tailed beast that was inside of her dad, and asks why he's here and where here even is. Kurama explains to her that they're not anywhere, that this is just the inside of her mind given form, and that they're just two minds talking, using this imaginary space as a medium. He says that they can do this because they're both of one body and soul. Outside of her mind, Shikadai is desperately trying to wake her up, saying that she's out cold, wondering if she hit her head. Behind them, Jura is catching up and Chocho notices. She demands Shikadai's attention. Team 10 begin panicking in true Scooby-Doo fashion and beg the sensory unit for immediate backup. Back in Himawari's head, she continues talking to Kurama. There, she asks what's happening, and Kurama tells her that she is right. He is the same tailed beast that was inside of Naruto. He explains that he perished, but that death for a tailed beast is not forever, and that they regenerate over time, with a kernel of them sprouting up over time. Huh. So I guess even if they do burn out their body, mind, and soul, they still will regenerate, just like Isobu did. That's pretty neat. Guess we were wrong. A tailed beast can regenerate even after its energy is transformed into baryons. Nice to know. Himawari asks about the term kernel, and he says that nobody knows when and where it will sprout, not even Kurama, so it was a surprise for him to reform inside of Himawari. He assumes that what happened was that she inherited a sliver of his power due to being conceived by his previous Jinchuriki. Or perhaps that it was their fates are simply tied because she's an Uzumaki and a Hyuga, both of which are closely related to the tailed beast through either relationship with him or what I assume is relation to the Otsutsuki clan in the Hyuga's case. In the end, Kurama states that it doesn't really matter why they're connected now, and that all that matters is accepting it and moving forward. Nice deflection, Kishimoto-sensei. That's the best way to say plot that I think I've ever heard. Himawari agrees and accepts it, introducing herself as Himawari Uzumaki. Kurama commends her on her strength and then snaps her back to reality where the panicked Team 10 are telling Inujin to go faster. Inujin tells them that he's already going as fast as he can. Himawari looks back at Jura and sees him catching up. Also freaking out, she begs Kurama to do something. Team 10 are in shock to see her back with them. She asks if he's listening and begs the Ninetales for help. Shikadai asks what's wrong. Jura then seems to form a tailed beast bomb or a truth seeker orb or whatever it's actually supposed to be in front of him, preparing to fire it. To the shock of Team 10, it shoots down the bird and causes them to fall from the sky. Chocho grabs onto everyone and inflates to cushion their landing in what appears to be the most painful belly flop imaginable. They slide to a stop, with the rest of the team thanking Chocho for her help. But this gratitude doesn't last long as Jura lands behind them. Jura commends them on their teamwork and laments that he has to kill them all now, but tells them that they chose this fate. Himawari once more starts to demand help from Kurama, but he tells her to keep her pants on. He tells her that the only one who can decide how to use his powers is her. She's the deciding factor of whether his powers are manifest or concealed. She says that it sounds easy, but has no clue what she's doing. Kurama tells her that he can sense that she's more compatible with his powers than any of the other Jinchuriki he's been in, including Naruto. He tells her basically it's time to take from old Pop Pop's motto and believe it. Believe in herself, or she's pretty much roadkill. Shikadai wonders where their backup is and goes to fight Jura, but Himawari beats him to it and goes to kick, but gets caught. Bro proceeds to snap her leg like a crispy french fry and drops her to the floor to crumple up like the napkin you use after eating said french fry. Her leg is all backwards and everything as she lays there in agony. She questions why she can't do it, saying that it's impossible for her. Inujin, being the ever lovesick artist, uses his super beast scroll technique to attack Jura, but Jura kills it without even turning his attention away from Himawari. He then begins to cover her in a tree. He tells her that while they call it devouring, it's not technically so, and that their victims merely become nourishment for them. He says that it's okay and that she need not be afraid. It's painless and she'll eventually even stop feeling her broken leg. Inujin, so full of righteous rage, rushes at the guy in the most pathetically straightforward fashion, forgetting that he's not in Dragon Ball. Jura then knees him in the gut and leaves him writhing on the ground. Himawari cries out for them to stop and tells Jura to leave them alone. Jura actually agrees, saying he's confused as to why they won't leave him alone. Inujin is impaled through the stomach by a large wooden spike, leaving Team 10 in shock. Himawari sees this and tears fill her eyes as she sees Inujin hang there, bleeding out on the spike. Jura thinks about it and wonders if it's possible that this is part of the philosophy of beauty known as aesthetics. Suddenly, Himawari smashes through the wooden tree she was encased in, with multiple tails being seen in the smoke of the wreckage. This catches everyone's attention. Himawari then, oh boy, she's not doing a Kurama transformation, she's literally doing the Medusa hair that Kushina does. Apparently that's an official transformation now. Wicked sick. She then tells Jura to stop it. Team 10 is shocked by this, with Kurama giving a light chuckle and remarking that she has totally snapped. He then asks her if she wants to run amok a little with him, and there the chapter ends. Okay, there's a lot we gotta unpack this chapter. Kishimoto-sensei brought the heat. First of all, we need to address the elephants in the room, that being Kurama's living and Inujin's dying. Now when it comes to Kurama's survival, there were so many theories, one of which Kishimoto danced around in saying that it's possible that Himawari always had a little tailed beast energy inside of her that lay dormant for all this time until Kurama perished. But what intrigued me the most is that Kurama basically confirmed that even Baryon mode can't eternally kill a tailed beast. To explain, it had been a theory of mine and many others that Kurama would never return to life, because he had burned away all of his chakra at once, turning it from chakra into radiation that Naruto would use to defeat Ishiki. This resulted in Kurama's death, but Kurama confirms that even in death a tailed beast is eternal and will eventually revive, just as Isobu did. Kurama said that there's no telling how long it'll take a tailed beast to regenerate, but considering that Isobu died twice and Kurama died once, I believe it would take around 3 years to regenerate. So the fact that Baryon mode doesn't lead to a permanent death can be summed up in the words of Chancellor Palpatine.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Moving on, we need to talk about Himawari's initial Jinchuriki form. I love how Kishimoto included the Gorgonic hair. That reference to Kushina was not lost on me. I love that so much, and it adds so much character to the transformation besides just the bubbly aura. I didn't even really see an aura, but I did see the thickened lines and the pigmentation around the eyes similar to what Naruto had. That's pretty wicked cool. I really want to see her in action now, so it's gonna be hard to wait another month for the next chapter of TBV. Now it's time to move on to why she turned into a beast in the first place. As we saw, Inajin pretty much got wasted by Jura. We should have seen it coming though, with how much Jura was after Himawari and how much he seemed to above all others display affection for her. To be honest, I took it to be subtle signaling that he was going to be the Hinata to Himawari's Naruto, but this is another way to interpret the reasoning behind Inajin's attraction to her. Now, while I say that Inajin died, that's not actually confirmed, and it's likely that he is still alive because he did have his eyes open there. Now, I guess that doesn't mean anything. Shinobi die with their eyes open, it's known to happen, but I get this feeling that he's not dead yet. All the same, I do think something about this, and you're probably gonna hate me, I do think that Inajin should die. I mean, looking at the wound he's suffering, he's pretty much got no internal organs left after that attack. He's suffered an attack not too far removed from the one Minato and Kushina would have perished from, and I don't recall really seeing anyone survive something like that without having Hashirama cells or creation rebirth. I mean, there are ways to save him, but it's either too far-fetched to believe he could be saved from this or too costly. Now, this is supposed to mimic Sasuke's sacrifice for Naruto, but I think they need to commit on this one, not just because it would be unrealistic to save him from this when frickin' Neji over here got something multiple times easier, and coming from an emotional standpoint, his death would not be in vain. While Kishimoto would be killing off a character, he would probably offer far more in death than he currently is in life. His death could serve as a rallying point for Konoha, as well as show how truly emotionally developed or inept Sai is at the current moment. It could also give Himawari a reason to have a grudge. And heavens help us, if Himawari has a grudge, be damn sure that Jura will end up killed brutally in the end by her. It would serve as emotional development for the whole story, as we've all grown attached to Inajin since his first appearance. If he survives, it would do nothing but serve as a cheap emotional moment that was merely used as a vehicle to awaken a power. And while it would be nice to see love conquer all, we don't even know if Himawari likes Inajin back. If she brings him back, the first thing she better do is plant a kiss on him, otherwise it's a wasted action. But that's just what I would do in this situation, or what I think I would do. Knowing me, I'd be too attached to the character and just bring him back to life, but it should be known, I've never been a fan of false stakes. If someone's life is ending, then it had better end. And if you're intent to save this person, then make a big deal out of it and make it lead up to something. It's either love or death. Those are the only outcomes I really see being the fate of Inajin, and if it's love, it better get a developmental explanation besides the 3 times we saw Inajin fawn over her in the last few chapters. But maybe I'm being too harsh. Anyway, it was nice to see Kawaki develop a sort of big brother complex over Himawari. I believe this is used particularly to remind us that Kawaki, while antagonistic, isn't necessarily a bad guy, and is just on the darker end of the morally gray area, not too unlike Sasuke was with Itachi during early Shippuden. This is likely designed to make us feel the feels for him, and to make his ultimate battle with Boruto even more emotionally impactful. Regardless, this is designed to tell us that there are some things Kawaki values above his own personal goals, whether it be because he's doing it for Naruto's sake, or if maybe the role of big brother has rubbed off on him. It's designed to show us that he does have a heart hidden under all the sleeveless shirts, leather, and eyebrow piercings, and I think it's a positive move for the series. It adds more emotional stakes between Boruto and Kawaki, in that while both are intent to face each other in battle, neither are willing to place that above the needs of others that they care about, and further evolves this into less of a Cain and Abel situation and more of a Jacob and Esau situation, where one is jealous of the other, but instead of ending in murder, it ends in reconciliation. But I suppose what I'm excited to see almost as much as the continuation of the battle between Jura and Himawari and the fate of Inajin is the battle between Hidari and Sarada. I am so hoping that she somehow gets separated from the others and is forced to make use of her Mangekyou Sharingan against Hidari. I need to see her abilities. I need to see the Susanoo. I need to see whatever the left eye does and the right eye. I just have to know. You should all know by now that the Mangekyo Sharingan is my favorite dojutsu of them all, and so I just can't stand the wait. I needs to know. Maybe I'm the only one, but I'm really hoping I get an answer to that question in the next chapter. But I digress. What was your favorite part of the chapter? What do you think should happen next? I need to poll the viewers. Next chapter, Inajin, should he live or should he die? Cast your votes now, and be sure to give your reasoning for your votes. Your opinions interest me almost as much as Jura enjoys a new book about aesthetic philosophy. Don't forget to like the video as well and subscribe if you haven't yet. And remember to ring the bell so you do get notified when newer videos like this drop. Until then, take these 2 videos to keep you entertained. Till next time, peace out.